On the Newshour tonight, Ravi Batra is back. Meghnad Desai joins us from Delhi. D Bakshi joins us from Delhi, and Sanjay Hegde is a Supreme Court advocate. I'll line up more. I'll open up the lines. Ravi Batra, have you heard did you hear the phone call of the racist American? Because, you know, what is quite clear to me are three things. The man who called the police was a racist. A. B. The police are racist. C. The state of Alabama is racist because they were protecting the racists. You have any doubt on these three? And so there is a basic racist prejudice that in America, in the state of Madison, Alabama, an Indian man has no right to be walking on a footpath. You have any doubt about this basic premise?
Let me respond to this. It's worse than what you're saying, because what the city of Madison is doing and Police Chief Larry Muncey has done is, after Sureshbhai's neck got broken in a criminal violation of civil rights and violation of federal and state rights, they are now trying to rob Sureshbhai of his day in court, and they have well checkmated the lawsuit filed yesterday, to the point that when the dust settles, if the lawsuit remains the way it is, the most Sureshbhai can get is a mere $100,000, and they will not even, may or may not even collect it. So this is a terrible event, what's occurring. The firing of the police officer is a very clever legal device to let the municipality not be responsible and not have to pay damages. And this is terrible. So, you know, this is a very sophisticated game in law.
I don't care about the American game, frankly. Ravi Batra, I don't care about the American game. For a long time, I have held the belief that there is a very strong racist underbelly that is prevalent in America. I only want to talk about racism tonight. This is not,
okay.
and if you don't know, one second, Ravi Batra, if you feel, right, that the life of an Indian can be measured in a few $100,000, then I think you're mistaken. We are not talking about... No, one second.
I don't.
No, one second. I'm sure you don't. But the question is, I'm not talking about the lawsuit, etc., etc. I am simply saying, is this racism or not? Ladies and gentlemen, I am now going to play you the clip. One second. I'm going to now play the clip of the racist American who, when he saw Sureshbhai Mehta walking on the streets, called the police saying, I have a black man, a skinny black man in my neighborhood. And he's looking around. Here's the call. Please listen to it and you can judge for yourself. D Bakshi, I'm going to come to you next. Let's listen to this.
Madison Place, Angela.
And we've had a guy, he was doing it yesterday and today, just kind of wandering around in driveways, and now he's walking down Hardeman Place Lane towards Hardeman Road.
Does he have a vehicle nearby, or he's all set?
He's just on foot. He's just kind of walking around close to the garage, and I stopped and started looking at him, and he started walking down Hardeman Place Lane towards Hardeman Road.
What does he look like?
He's probably, he's a skinny black guy. He's got a toboggan on. He's really skinny.
Okay.
And I've lived here for 4 years. I've never seen him before.
All right, blue jeans, sweater, jacket.
He's got on blue jeans. He's got on like a white or really light colored sweater and a toboggan.
Okay. So how old does he look?
I can't really tell. I would say he's in his 30s.
Okay. All right. And the last time you saw him, he was walking down Hardeman Place toward Woodville?
He's walking down Hardeman Place Lane towards Hardeman Road.
Toward Hardeman Road, okay.
Yeah, like towards the high school. And I'm just kind of following him from a distance now, going down Hardeman Place Lane.
Okay. Do you want contact when the officer shows up?
No, I'm on my way to work, but I was nervous leaving my wife, and he's just standing around in the driveway across the street.
Okay.
He looked at me and started walking away, so...
Okay.
So Ravi Batra, what I just played out are two racist Americans talking to each other. One is the racist paranoid American who thinks an Indian is a black man who's a threat to a white neighborhood. And the other lady is probably a police officer. She's another racist American who takes some kind of rubbish like this at face value and immediately dispatches three other racist Americans who then go and ask this person, what are you doing here? As if he has no right to be there. So in racist America, and then they search him, they find nothing. They are so angry, they find nothing. They want an excuse to beat him up. The three racist Americans then want an excuse to just beat up an Indian. For pleasure, perhaps, Ravi Batra. It's not a mistake. It's a premeditated racist assault. Now, I want to ask you this. If there had been a premeditated... If there had been a premeditated racist assault on an American citizen, would Obama be quiet?
Look, you're asking a wrong predicate question. Okay, it's inflammatory and unhelpful.
I'm asking you exactly the right question.
What has happened?
I am telling you this is racism.
Here.
Do you believe this is racism? Or do you
yes,
believe this is use of disproportionate force?
But not the way you said it.
What is the way you said it? No, they are saying it's a case of disproportionate force. What is disproportionate force, sir? What is disproportionate force?
Hold on.
Does disproportionate... what is disproportionate force?
May I respond?
Yes.
Arnab, may I respond?
What is disproportionate force?
Okay. The officer, when he had no legal constitutional right to stop a civilian who was committing no crime and there was no reasonable suspicion, therefore even the contact...
Was this racism, sir? Let's speak English. You are speaking English and I'm speaking English. Was this racism? Was this racism or not? Was this racism?
Yes, it was.
Then why don't they admit it's racism? Are they embarrassed about it?
No, let me finish.
No, why don't they admit it's racism?
Jim Comey just yesterday FBI Director Jim Comey, who is a great protector of the United States Constitution, said yesterday that there is latent means hidden in your subconscious, latent biases that people carry.
No, that's all. No, sir. No, 1 minute. Mr. Batra, I reject that English.
But that's racism.
D Bakshi, what is this? what Mr. Batra wants opening up the debate? First of all, Mr. Batra, I think Americans should stop trying to teach Indians English. What do you mean latent, disproportionate use in your subconscious? I mean, speak English like a normal person.
You don't know what latent means?
This is racism.
Latent means,
no, I'm sorry.
Latent means the subconscious.
No, this is not a psychology class.
I don't understand.
If there is racism, call it racism. Isn't it racism? Racism is a simpler word.
No,
are the Americans embarrassed to call it racism? What is subconscious? I am saying here tonight, it is a case of racism because the police officers present used force despite knowing the subject did not understand English. And D Bakshi, please come into the debate. This is a case of racism because the police officer... Because the police officer did not give Patel a chance to explain himself.
You're only dealing with the tip of the iceberg.
Sir, is this racism or not?
You're only dealing with the tip of the iceberg.
So why is America embarrassed about calling it racism? Is it racism or not?
It is the policy. It is the policy and practice of it is the policy and practice of the Madison Police Department.
Please, sir, it is pure and simple racism.
I don't know his name. Hello?
Yes, D Bakshi, General Bakshi.
Arnab, I would like to state unequivocally that this is an unspeakable outrage. This is a racist attack like no other thing can define a racist attack. And I think for once our American friends should now stop preaching. We in the Indian Army have been at the receiving end of a whole slew of human rights organizations from the United States telling us, of the atrocities that we are supposed to have committed. I think they should just watch this video and thereafter keep quiet. I don't think we deserve the kind of moral hectoring and the lectures that we got from the American president, after what has happened in Ferguson and what has happened to an Indian today. As far as it was Ferguson, I'm afraid we could not say very much because the way you treat American citizens is primarily your responsibility. But when you do this to our own, and then you come and lecture us in town hall meetings on how we should deal with our minorities, I think it doesn't gel.
Yeah.
I think there is a need to take a call. I don't think we need this moral hectoring anymore.
Point is...
And not from a society that does this.
Point is this is racism. The acceptance of the fact that this is racism has now become very fundamental to us. And I'll tell you why this is racism. This is racism because, according to these news reports, and we saw the phone call right now, Meghnad Desai, the phone call is of a non-emergency nature. I mean, some paranoid racist American makes a phone call and says, there's a black guy in my neighborhood. And as a result of that phone call, emergency response of the police, 3 people are sent there, and they use extreme force on an unarmed person after searching him and realizing that there is nothing on him, which means all these policemen wanted to do was get an opportunity to vent their racist feelings out on an unarmed Indian man. Meghnad Desai, is it important or not that we get an admission from the Americans that this is racism?
Yes.
And he was on the footpath. And Meghnad Desai, he was on the footpath. He's on nobody's lawn.
Lots of Americans would say...
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Look, I'm not disagreeing with you. Just listen to me. We all agreed that it is racist. It's a racist attack. What happened in Ferguson was a racist attack. What happened in New York was a racist attack. American police in different parts of the country is racist if it's white police. In UK, we have had a report on London police and the whole structure of racism in London police. So, I mean, racism is something very serious, and it is not just because it has happened to an Indian that is a problem, it is a problem. So, I mean, and we have to eradicate it.
No, we can't eradicate it. No, we can't eradicate it. No, 1 second.
Because we also have atrocities. We also have, we have atrocities at home.
Sir, that's all. Please, Meghnad Desai. Please, Meghnad Desai, there are opportunities.
That is what your previous panelist was saying that, which is why I am replying to it. The fact that Americans are racist
Professor Desai,
does not mean that we are virtuous.
No, are we being a little squeamish on behalf of the
Americans? Are racist. Americans are racist.
No, I'm not being
Isn't every human being racist?
I am concerned.
I'm just saying,
I am concerned about this case.
Don't start being virtuous.
I'm not being virtuous, Meghnad Desai. I am showing them a mirror.
Churches are being burnt in Delhi.
Professor Meghnad Desai. Professor Meghnad Desai. Why are
as racist? Okay. We are as racist as they are.
Okay, Meghnad Desai, is it?
We are as
do I get a feeling here that some
our race is the same color?
Do I get a feeling here that some people are getting very squeamish? Why are we fighting a case for the racist people? I mean, I don't understand. All I want is an acceptance.
I'm not
1 minute, Meghnad Desai.
I was demonstrating.
Arnab,
listen to me. Listen
can we restrict ourselves to discussing this case? No, 1 second.
I was demonstrating against racism. Listen to me. I was demonstrating against racism 50 years ago on the streets of America. I have a very good record.
So what it clearly proves, Meghnad Desai, is that 1 second, Professor Desai, Professor Desai, can you hear me? You're getting worked up unnecessarily.
I'm not being squeamish.
You're getting worked up. You see, if you were protesting, Professor
Arnab, let him talk.
Professor, 1 minute. What this incident tells us about America, and I appreciate the fact that you were on the streets of America 50 years back talking about racism in America. I'm sorry to tell you the truth.
Americans are racist.
No, 1 second, Professor, and I heard you, and now you hear me back. What this tells me is that Martin Luther King's values are dead in the 21st century in America.
No, not true.
And this tells me, 1 second, Ravi Batra, don't react so quickly. What this tells me, 1 second. What this tells me that every story being told about America being the melting pot of the world or the salad bowl of the world is nothing but a lie. What this tells me, what this incident tells me, I'm sorry, let me complete, Ravi Batra. I heard both you and Meghnad Desai. This incident tells us that every recognition, allow me to complete, sir, every recognition made of the problem, made by the US President after US President after US President, come and talk about it. Clinton talked about it. Bush talked about it. Obama talked about it. Has not been able to change the sentiment of the ground. And therefore tonight, Ravi Batra, I'm not going to let any American or American apologist, allow me to complete, get away by saying this is a case of disproportionate force.
You're true.
I want the right language used.
Agree with you.
I want the right language used. And the right language.
With you.
Meghnad Desai, thank you.
I agree with
you.
May
the right language is racism.
I agree with you.
Meghnad Desai, the right language is racism.
May I respond?
I agree with you.
Then why don't you call it racism?
I agree with you.
You see, Meghnad Desai.
I agree with you.
Sure, you agree with me. I want the American government to agree with me.
I called it racism.
May I respond? May I respond?
I called it
yes,
racism.
Ravi Batra.
Long ago.
No, they haven't called this case of racism. One second. And Meghnad Desai, let me add. Neither has our government put that kind of pressure. I want to know where the Indian political class is tonight.
I
want to know whether BJP and
I want to congratulate Arnab, I want to congratulate President Obama and our FBI and our Justice Department for so quickly starting a parallel federal investigation.
I'm sorry.
It is almost unheard of.
I think
it is almost unheard of in the United States. And that's a gift to India, and it's a gift to the Indian American community.
I reject that. I reject that because I'll tell you a couple of things.
You can't.
No, well, I can. He's an Indian citizen. I totally
you can't.
I totally
it's a gift.
I totally can. And I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this. You very well know, Ravi Batra, that had this case not come out in the media, then even what has been done so far would not have happened. Okay? This is a case of racism because the caller described Sureshbhai Patel.
I applaud your coverage.
Why don't you?
I applaud your coverage.
I don't need certificates. What I'm saying tonight is a fundamental point.
You have them.
A fundamental point. The fundamental point is this is a case of racism. Argue with me on fact, Ravi Batra, because the caller told the police dispatcher. 1 second. The caller told the police that he was nervous leaving his wife at home because a man who he thought was a black, because Sureshbhai Patel was in the neighborhood. Right? So
and that's a racist fear.
Let me get in the fourth.
That's racist fear.
No, of course. Then I want Obama to call it racism. I want Obama to call it racism. Well, is it expecting
He's done
too much?
bigger than that.
Is it
He's done bigger than that. He gave a federal investigation.
I am really
on a parallel level.
I am sorry, he hasn't even moved on it, Ravi Batra. You want to argue it with me on whether he's moved on it? Okay, let's argue.
I am.
Okay, so I'll tell you.
I am arguing with you.
Okay, so then argue with me.
You don't realize the gift that's been given.
Here's the question then. Let's get into some straight and unanswered questions here. Ravi Batra, the case is open. Sanjay Hegde come into the debate, and I refuse to believe that we need to be thankful to the Americans for doing the little that they have. I'd rather they have done nothing than try and put on an apology of an investigation. My first question, Sanjay Hegde, you can join the debate, is Sureshbhai Patel was taken down by a racist man called field trainer Eric Parker, right? But his trainee Andrew Slaughter was also assisting at the scene. Why has there been no action against Mr. Slaughter? Why is there only one symbolic...
You should be a lawyer, Arnab.
Pardon me?
Exactly. You're right.
So
the city of Madison is mugging Sureshbhai a second time.
No, exactly.
By what they did yesterday.
Now
I'm very offended by what they did.
No, 1 second. There has been one arrest, which means there are 3 people. Yes, yes, please.
Yeah, Mr. Batra has a point there, because what he is saying is that Madison is trying to limit its liability. If it fires the police officer, then the liability would just be about 100,000.
Sanjay Hegde, I don't care about the state of Alabama limiting its liability. I'm talking about an Indian citizen who's the subject of a racist attack.
You better.
We need money
better worry about
for Sureshbhai so that he at least is compensated.
I am not talking about compensation. I'm surprised sometimes that extremely intelligent lawyers sometimes look at things in such a hardcore legal way that they forget the humanity.
First, let's do what's good for Sureshbhai. Secondly, let's do what's good for India. There are two things which can go parallelly.
Well, you know, Sanjay Hegde.
That's the one language that America and administrations understand.
Okay,
Make them pay.
No, 1 second.
Arnab, your motives are good, but you don't understand what you're doing.
Ravi Batra, I understand it better, and let me 1 second. 1 second, Ravi Batra, let's argue on fact. Don't give me these subjective sweeping comments. Let's argue on fact tonight, okay? My comment is this.
You're the master of subjectivity.
Well, Ravi Batra, hear this please. The Madison police, and I'm surprised, you wouldn't be laughing like this if an American citizen had been assaulted by the Delhi or the Mumbai police for no fault of his. If an American citizen was walking down on Marine Drive,
I'm laughing at our conversation.
If an American citizen was walking down on Marine Drive and the Mumbai police just asked him, what are you doing walking here, you white man, walking here on the footpaths of India, I'm going to throw you to the ground, I'm going to leave you half paralyzed after that.
Offensive.
And then you say sorry.
Offensive.
Mr. Ravi Batra, the Madison police, I want to know what storm it would have picked up in America, and I want to know whether the American media would have been as blindsided to that incident had there been a white American man involved in the incident as they have in the case of Sureshbhai Patel. This kind of
American media has absolutely picked up the story.
I don't think so, sir. Not in the way that it would have. Because this is not
the
Ferguson.
State Department was asked a question yesterday about
I'm sorry, Ravi Batra.
Okay.
Ravi Batra, listen to this.
Arnab, this is a pattern. This is a pattern which has happened with Trayvon Martin. It's happened with Eric Garner, who said he could not breathe and was put into a chokehold.
Let's not mix the two together.
Of course we'll mix the two together. There are racists on the loose.
Eric Garner was selling illegal cigarettes.
On the part of police officers. Essentially what happens is when a person of color walks down a white neighborhood, and I'm speaking it as someone who has close relatives in America, there is a certain look. Is this person suspicious? And unfortunately, in this particular case, where Sureshbhai could not speak English, was lost in that neighborhood, was probably thinking he was back home in Ahmedabad, where the people are friendly, they would point him in the right direction. It was seen as interfering in white man's property. That is why that racist call. But what really bothers me is the extreme use of brutal force on the part of the American police, the Madison police, as being normal to culture. That when you take down a suspect, despite the fact that he's scrawny, he's skinny, he's old, and he's handcuffed. Despite that, where was the cause to bring him down?
Exactly. I don't see any reason.
Correct. It was unconstitutional.
Well,